त्वमेव विद्या द्रविणं त्वमेव त्वमेव सर्वं मम देव देव त्वमेव सर्वं मम देव देव.
सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै. ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः. गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परं ब्रह्मा तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः. तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः. Page number 200, fourth mantra, second adhyaya, first valli, fourth mantra. स्वप्नान्तं जागरितान्तं चोभौ येनानुपश्यति महान्तं विभुमात्मानं मत्वा धीरो न शोचति. In Bhagavad Gita, the first message begins from Bhagavan saying that Panditaha na sochati. The last shloka, Sarvadharman Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam Vraja Ahantva Sarva Papebhyaha Mokshayishyami Ma Shucha. So, not to grieve is the message in Bhagavad Gita. That also seems to have been directly inspired by this Kathopanishad only. Because this is the second time that Bhagavan Yamadharmaraja is saying. And he'll keep repeating this concept. Ma shucha matva dhiraha na shochati. Who is the one who is called dhira? The one who has dhairya, courage. But courage is a result of a different kind of mindset. What is the mindset that is required for courage to be expressed? Courage comes from immense amount of patience, sabr, patience. Patience with one's own self. One cannot force the flower to bloom. On these grand puja days, when we get lotuses, if you get it from the lake or the pond, it has a different charm to it directly. But if you're getting it from the market, they have plucked it one day early as it was still a bud, and now the priest has to force open that flower. And when they force open that flower, as you're sitting there watching it happen, it feels so brutal that they smash the front and then start pulling each petal out. It is not the same glorious lotus that you see again. A forced blooming is always, though it is a real flower, it looks nakli because it has not bloomed properly in its own accord. Similarly, knowing exactly where I am, what I am caught up in, and from there to journey all the way to stability within, steadiness within, one has to have patience. Born from that patience is the courage to face whatever we have to face to reach to that destination. Now, with that patience, what also is required, patience alone will not give you that courage. With that patience, one should also understand what amount of clarity is required so that we are not sucked into the happenings which distract us away from our goal. At every layer, there is tapa. Therefore, there is instability. Now, added to that, if there is absence of clarity as to where I have to focus on, it only adds to the problem. It only amplifies the problem. Therefore, one has to have that commitment with patience so that we can face life courageously. And as you are inching closer to the self, it requires that much more patience with oneself. Because it almost seems like a standstill movement. It is so slow that it almost feels that it is like you are stuck in the same place. To not give up, to not cave in despair, in desperation, or to get sucked into agitations. All this has to be handled by that seeker. Matva dhiraha na shochati. So, what is it that one has to have clarity about? Purpose of the goal, the destination, clarity about the very methods and means through which one has to reach to that, clarity about the very potholes that one has to jump across, which is again my own self, which is not properly tuned probably. So, here the focus is about the earlier part of the chapter. The first chapter we dealt with all the externalities that can be the problem, all the enticements that Yamadharmaraja threw at Nachiketa, the externalities were dealt with very deftly. Now, the clarity about the goal. Many of us understand that sadhana has to be done. But what does one meditate upon? What is the nididhyasana upon? That is given for clarity. And as a pointer which is saying, etat vaitat, this is it. See, most of the Upanishads refer to that as that only. Here, Yamadharmaraj is saying, this is it. This, that which pointer has taken your intellect to that clarity, that exactly is it. So, the gap is closed. It is no more that Dura Tattva, it is Antika. Antika, that which is very close. स्वप्नांतम जागरितांतम च उभौ येन अनुपश्यति Mahantam vibhum atmanam matva dhiraha na shochati. Matva, matva, having understood this. Understood what? Swapnantam jagaritantam cha ubhau yena anupashyati. Pashyati is to see, to realize. Anupashyati, anupashyati, subtly understand. Anu itself means smaller than the smallest. This understanding, pashyati here means understanding, figure of speech. Do you see the point? When my eyes are open, what point are you pointing at? No, it is not the very literary sense, it is more of a figure of speech, meaning do you understand, do you comprehend? How? In its all subtlety, anupashyati. What is it that which you are asking me to closely watch, closely understand? Swapnantam jagaritantam. There are two phases of our life, though we go through three different experiences, three planes of experiences: waking, dream, and deep sleep. One where the mind, intellect, the antakarana is absorbed into its very nascent form. It is non-functional at that point, and that is the deep sleep. She is not taking that into consideration. He is directly talking about those two other phases wherein the mind is active, the antakarana is active. One more than the other, where the antakarana is active. The Jagrad Avastha is that Avastha wherein there is Ishwariya Prapancha. There is the Prapancha which is created by that Ishvara, and to that Ishwariya Prapancha, I with my attachment create various layers of likes and dislikes, and thus thereby act accordingly into the world. Whereas the Swapna Prapancha is more overactive mind, wherein the Prapancha also is created by that mind, projected by that mind, and get attached to it, and not only get attached to it as the experiencer, but that which is being experienced also is being projected by the mind. The entire matrix, the gamut of creation inside the Swapna Prapancha, with respect to that Swapna Prapancha, I am the Ishvara. My mind is the Ishvara. It is at the same time the material cause, the efficient cause, and the intelligent cause. Though sometimes not that very intelligent, because the dreams are hodgepodge. But yet, the entire field is nothing but the mind alone in an explosion. So, with respect to both of these experiences of Jagrad Avastha and Swapna Avastha, to understand Yaha Pashyati, to understand it in its subtlety. What is the subtlety? The subtlety is mind as such is purely made up of matter. And to add to it, it is made up of that matter which is not only subtle, but also of the purest sattvic nature. Sattvikamshat sambhuta, that is created by that sattvikamsha. More power to it. The physical body is that aspect of Panchabhuta which is very gross, tamasic. Why is my body feeling this lethargic? It is made up of tamasic material. What else do you expect? Mind, on the other hand, is made up of subtle matter. So the antakarana can penetrate farther than what the body can penetrate into. In the Jagrata Avastha, the mind does not create the prapancha. What does prapancha mean? Prakarshena prakatita panchamaha bhutayah. That which is the permutations and combinations of these five elements which have been grossified expresses out into varied multiple layers of combinations. And every aspect of it is nothing but that five elements alone. We say there is nothing. That nothingness also is five element. It is also that space. Whatever has been created has been this five elements. That which is enjoying it, that which is experiencing it, also is the aspect of this Panchamahabhuta, the sattvic aspect of it. Therefore, in Bhagavad Gita, we saw in 3rd chapter, Guna guneshu vartante iti matvana sajjate. This is made up of guna, that is made up of guna. It is an interaction between these gunas. Why are you putting your head in between? See, the mortar and pestle, why are you putting your head in between? Guna guneshu vartante. Be the sakshi of it. But then the mind, it creates its own layers of conviction, a sense of reality. And to that sense of reality, there is a sense of attachment. Now, Gurudev again and again uses the word attachment. That word attachment actually covers both likes and dislikes. Raga and Dvesha, both of them are attachments. How? I like it, therefore I am attached to it. I don't like it, therefore I am attached to be away from it. Both are sense of attachment only. But in and through all this functionality, can the layer of matter interact with the layer of matter without a conscious principle enlivening it? That has to be anupashyati. Yesterday, while we were ending it, we said, though we listen to all the layers of sadhana, we are understanding the entire field of sadhana as the body, mind and intellect. There is no layer of a degree of separation from the body, mind and intellect. Just like I drive a vehicle, there is a layer of separation in my understanding that it is a tool that I am using, I am not it. But with respect to this body, mind and intellect, see, when we drive a vehicle, I may like the ride. I may like the smoothness of the vehicle, right? I may like the pickup. All that which you said, I am using it as an example. You like the pickup, you like the smoothness, you like the efficiency, but yet there is a degree of separation, knowing very clearly that I am not it. But whereas with respect to this body, mind, and intellect, there is absolutely no degree of separation. There is no separation at all. Therefore, anything happening to this, my standpoint of conviction is I am this body, mind, and intellect. Now, from there is an extension. Not only that I am this body, mind, and intellect, I am also the layer of that which this antakarana is very heavily attached to. Everything that I indulge in is purely because I am attached to it. There is no dispassionate outlook in that interaction. So, any slight change that happens which is not in accordance with my like and dislike, that which I am attached to throws me off. Therefore, my experience with the world outside is constantly fluctuating because nothing seems to be without fluctuation. So, all these layers, the most amazing aspect, can exist, can persist, can experience only when there is something as a substratum on which these are playing. But my attention is not there at all. Therefore, yena anupashyati. That has to be the most subtlest understanding. Without that understanding, there cannot be a conviction. So that understanding itself is lacking. Therefore, how much ever Shravana is happening, I go out there and behave just like how we get angry with our children. How many ever times we tell them they go do the same stupid things. We are no better. Though the Upanishads, though the Prakarana Granthas, though the Bhagavad Gita is constantly saying, you are not that which is dancing, you are the platform on which the dance is happening. And yet, we get completely lost, completely sucked, completely devastated because it drains. So, anupashyati, change that focal point. Being what are you engaging in the activity? Are you being the ahankari who is acting in the world with ahankara? Are you the conscious principle who is supporting it and this interaction happening? The ego is also expressing, but it is this standpoint from where I am watching it. Just like how between the parents, the father has a different mindset, the mother has a different mindset with regards to the child. The child has just started walking, trying to find that balance. Every time that the child falls, the mother is like, there is something that just pulls the strings very deeply. The cord is like yanked. She runs towards, and the father stops the mother. One is completely attached, the other is also attached, but from a dispassionate standpoint. गिरेगा नहीं तो सीखेगा कहां? Both of them are for the care of the child. But one is completely engrossed in that attachment, the other has a certain amount of dispassionate outlook from where when they see the child, they want to make sure that it is a secure environment. And yet allow that child to fall through and learn that balance. They allow it to happen. Similarly, the world of happenings. Let it happen. As though by you worrying and getting attached to it, you'll stop the happening. It is not going to happen. But the key point is, where am I established in? You cannot change, you cannot divert the experience. You will have to go through that experience. But standing where? Last example on this. You are traveling in a bus. Immediately that comes to my mind is when you have to fly and you are ferried in a bus. It is usually packed more precariously than the local buses. Because in the local buses, you don't have that kind of a luggage. You have a backpack, you have a hand luggage. Though there are spaces to place it, it is all fully occupied. Now you have to hold this and take a support. If you don't take the support, though the vehicle seems to be going very slow, the turns that they make are sharper. So you will be thrown away. So what do you do to stabilize? Where are you holding? What is it that you are holding up to from where you experience it? The experience cannot be avoided. Where are you seated? Where are you anchoring yourself? Anupashyati. Every experience can become a sadhana. If this is understood, now get the experience of the swapna. As long as you are in that swapna, it appears very, very real. When do you find the sense of relief? When you wake up. Until then, everything that is projected, everything that is being attached to, everything that you are liking, you are scared of, everything is projected by the mind. But when you wake up, all of that is negated, nullified, knowing that it was just a dream. Similarly, the awakened one, matva dhiraha na shochati, having awakened to the conscious standpoint, it is just that the conviction has to change. Awakened to that conscious standpoint, even the waking world can be seen with that detached perspective. Now, for that mind to throw such a intricate dream pattern, again, the mind is nothing but matter. Matter is jada, it is dead matter. That dead matter can create that intricate patterns because it is touched by, enlivened by, blessed by that conscious principle. Just like one beam of light, when it hits a, let me know, kaleidoscope. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. You know, when we used to go to the uh, exhibition grounds, kaleidoscope, right? So there is a small pipe like a thing which is mirrored from all directions, and it has few colorful particles thrown in. As soon as the light beam hits and you observe it from the other end, the light, the colorful particles and the reflection in there, or the more you move it, the more the kind of no two patterns are similar. But can that happen in darkness? The kaleidoscope is there, the colorful beads are there, you are watching it, but there is no light input. Similarly is the conscious principle. Is the light doing something? No. Just mere its presence creates that variation. It enables the mind to project that kind of swapna avastha. The moment, just like the kid, to distract the kid, you put any moving toys on the top of their crib. We also get lost into all the movements. Because our standpoint is that is the cause of detriment. I am not established, I am not convinced of the higher standpoint. This appears real, therefore I am attached to it. I behave as this. So the shift happens, that is when a sadhaka actually has started treading the higher spiritual sense. Yenanu pashyati. Because what do they come to understand? Mahantam vibhumatmanam matva dhiro na shochati. That higher standpoint, Mahantam, Mahantam, the highest, the greatest. Vibhum Atmanam. The word Vibhu is such a beautiful usage here. That which appears to have become many. Appears to have become many. The key word there, appears to. Adi Shankaracharya ji in his Bhashya writes, Iva Shabdataha Vividam Bhavati Iva. That which as though, as if has become many. Meaning what? Everything that which is appearing as this multitude has the capacity to appear as multitude only because the substratum is supporting that material because of the mere presence and the touch of that conscious principle appears like that. Both sthavara and jangama, both the sentient and the insentient appear because of the touch of that supreme Mahantam. And this Mahantam Vibhum Atmanam Matva. I am that substratum, knowing this, understanding this. With that conviction, when they see the world of happenings, na shochati. I am that stable, I am that steadiness, everything that which is moving is layer of matter. Whether that movement is in control or not in control. Usually the fear is when I don't have a control of it. Whether it is in control or no control, that is the layer of matter, that is how it will function. But I am not that which is moving. What a beautiful sadhana, that as the things are happening, Bhagavad Gita says, Guruna api na vichalayet. Even if it is overwhelming changes that are happening, you are that changeless substratum, knowing which when you see that change, you are not scared anymore. Na shochati. But because I become the change, I am invested in it, and when it is not in control, there is a sense of anxiety and fear. And thereby there is shoka. Shoka is because of moha. Moha that I am the change. In Vyavahara, we say a very beautiful statement. Whatever in this world you want to bring a change, be the change. Very powerful statement in Vyavahara. But then in the Adhyatma, it says, observe the change, you are not the change. That gulf of difference has to be covered or shifted by the conviction of the buddhi. Just like when I call Subbarao, who will answer? Will any one of you answer? You will look around and then try educating me saying, I don't think there is any Subbarao here. Who will answer? Only Subbarao will answer. Or somebody connected to that Subbarao. Your friend who has not come to the class today, therefore he is not here, sir. Otherwise, no one else will respond. I am reacting because I have become that Subbarao who exists not. What should be done? A therapy to change that conviction that I am not this jiva. I am that because of whose presence the jivatva is expressing. Do you think that having realized this, there would be no reflected consciousness? Suppose there is a setting sun, that is a west side, there is a setting sun and it is hitting on some window or some kind of a, and it is reflecting. And I am confused, where is this light coming from? The moment I investigate, find, oh, this is where is it is hitting and from there it is reflecting. Once you realize that it is a reflection, do you think that suddenly the reflection will stop? It will continue. But your standpoint that I am not that reflection is confirmed, and in that firmness you act. That shift has to happen. When that happens, dhiraha na shochati. Such one is not perturbed, disturbed, agitated. Because they are established in that self within Atmanam Matva. That I am that substratum, the supreme, on which this kaleidoscope of prapancha is playing its colors. The world is distracting only to the one that is with the wrong identity. It is beautiful to the one that is detached. Now tell me, who will enjoy that prapancha more? The one who is engulfed in it, or the one who is detached, therefore can see the colors properly? Think through. What we think, what we are enjoying is actually a forced environment because of my likes and dislikes. Even though it doesn't hit my likes and dislikes, and yet the spectacle becomes a beauty. Therefore, Satyam, Shivam, Sundaram is also an aspect of that Ishvara. The expression itself becomes Sundarata. We seldom see that Sundarata. Continuing. Fifth mantra, 204. Yaimam madvadam veda atmanam jivamantikat ईशानं भूतभव्यस्य
ईशानं भूतभव्यस्य
न ततो विजुगुप्सते
न ततो विजुगुप्सते
ये तत्वै तत्
एतद्वैतत्
ये तत् वै तत्. This is that absolute truth, and that which is your very true nature. य इमं मद्वदं वेद आत्मानं जीवम अंतिकात् ईशानं भूत भव्यस्य न ततः विजुगुप्सते. Vijugupsa is that which can trigger fears and anxieties. Na Vijugupsate. It doesn't trigger that fear and anxiety anymore. How or what? This is Yaha. Yaha, that sadhaka, that mumukshu, who knows that this very Atma, Atmanam, Madvadam Veda, very peculiarly beautiful word that has been used here. Madhu, Adam. Madhu, honey, the nectar. Adam, to eat, to enjoy that madhu. If you ever have observed the bees, there is one queen and the rest of them are workers. There is a very short span of life for these bees. This is the only creature in the entire creation that sleeps not. Do you know that? During the daytime, they are busy mapping this world to find where can I find that nectar. And that nectar is usually in a transparent droplets, micro droplets. Having mapped where they can score the nectar, they go inform the rest of them and then they swarm that place and then meticulously one tiny droplet at a time, bring that madhu. A very small amount, infinitesimally small amount, they take for their sustenance. So I have to know, just now a thought triggered. Do the bees ever get diabetes? Because they sustain themselves only on that nectar, nothing else. Once they collect it, they go back to their hive and deposit all that which they have gathered through that little straw that they have, which they have drawn into their glands. They spit it out into those hives. All day long, they keep bringing it, depositing it, bringing it, depositing it. Night, all night long, all these bees are busy. That's why if you have gone ever close to a beehive, it is always busy buzzing. If you can tune into it, it is a very calming buzzing sound. Why is it buzzing? That madhu, that nectar, that which they have gathered, now they have to solidify it. So all night long their feathers are fanning that nectar. all night long. That's why we say busy like a bee. We don't do any justice to that statement because they are 24/7 busy. In the daytime gathering, in the night time evaporating. Evaporating that moisture from that which the droplets that they have gathered. Then it starts becoming dense. Right? And once it becomes dense, there is somebody else that comes, chases them away, smokes them out, and then grabs the entire collection. The best of the honey gatherers. Do you know who they are? The human beings come on the second level. The first is the bear. Oh, they love honey. And how do they make sure that the bees don't sting them? They have this innate technology to identify the queen bee, pick that queen bee and put it aside. As soon as the queen bee is put aside, all the bees go in to protect that queen bee. The beehive is left now open to be enjoyed. It is only the human beings who are second. What do? We smoke them out. बड़ी हिंसात्मक है. A lot of himsa involved there. If the example is understood. For all the fruits of action, I think I am enjoying. But then, without that Ishvara present here as that, reflecting as that Jiva, can the Jiva claim to enjoy it? What to talk of the life principle enlivening the body? We cannot enjoy it even if we are in a deep sleep. Best of the ice cream with the subtlest of the flavors brought to you. But you were snoring away to glory. Do you think you can enjoy that? All that which you have gathered, collected, can you enjoy it in your deep sleep? Even the desperate lover who tells to his beloved, I cannot think of a moment that away from you that I can live, ignores that lover and sleeps to glory. In that sleep, in that deep sleep, there is no enjoyment happening. Disconnected to the system, the internal software, it cannot enjoy the outside world. Now, can that internal system, disconnected from the entire system, meaning dead and gone, not connected with the body anymore, do you think they can enjoy? If not enlivened by, if not touched by that Supreme and its presence as that Ishvara through this. Because that Ishvara alone is expanding. He is not creating the creation, he is becoming the creation. That is a huge difference between the other religious beliefs about creation and the Sanatana way of thinking. We do not say that God has created this creation. We say that God has become the creation. World of difference. See, Hindus are often blamed by the other religion, other Abrahamic religions especially, that we are idol worshippers. Today I give you a homework. Go home and check the etymological derivation of the word idol. And we also not understanding it, we keep saying we are idol worshippers. The etymological derivative of that word idol is satanic, shaitan. Why do they consider it as a blasphemy? Why do they consider it as a wrong thing to worship? Because we worship stones, we worship trees, we worship rivers, we worship mountains, we worship the entire creation. For them, God has created it something other than Him so that it can be enjoyed by the man. For the longest time in their belief system, because it says man, only man can enjoy. It's only recently that the women have fought and said, no, women also can enjoy. They did not have voting rights. So, to talk of women oppression, it is not in Hinduism, it is in that other. Anyway, coming back to the point. And because it is created for the man to be enjoyed, that which is to be enjoyed, now you are worshipping as though it is God, which is not God. Therefore, you are belittling God. Therefore, you are blasphemy, committing a blasphemy. Belittling God is the most treacherous crime that you can commit. Therefore, you are doomed for hell, eternal hell. And therefore, those people now firmly believe we have to save that soul. Because now they are doomed for eternal hell. Give them the way of our God so that they can be uplifted. In their lack of understanding of the completeness of the principle, though it appears that they are also trying to help, but in a very limited understanding. Whereas in the Hindu way of understanding, the creation is not created by Bhagavan, but Bhagavan himself becomes the creation. Meaning, the very essence of each expression of multitude is verily that Ishvara alone, that totality alone. So, who actually is the one that is enabling the enjoyment to happen? Without that Ishvara, can we enjoy? So, who can be credited as the actual enjoyer of all of this? Is that Bhagavan alone? Therefore, in our puja paddhati, when we do the sankalpa, we say, Vishnoho prityartham idam aham karishye. Because the actual enjoyer is only him. So, may my acts gather that fruit of action so that Vishnu, that all pervasive, who has become verily the creation, may he enjoy. Madhvadam Veda. Because in the equation of Tattvamasi, Tat, that Ishvara is Brahma Tattva. Tvam, this Jiva is Brahma Tattva. A equals to C, B equals to C. Therefore, I am that C. So, the Ishwariya aspect is brought into picture here. Yaha tu Madhu Adam Veda, the one who understands the actual. And how do you understand this Madhu Adam? Atmanam Veda. You are verily that which is enlivening this principle. You are that from the macrocosmic level, that which we recognize as Ishvara. You are verily that because the substratum of both is the same. Jivam Antikam. Jivam, the very life principle. Antikam, the very intimate, the very substratum of my being, the core of my being, is this conscious principle. Because of whose presence I am able to enjoy. Now, being the Jiva, where am I lost? I am lost in the desperate efforts to enjoy. When you step back, you realize that the enjoyer is actually that Ishvara alone. Now, once you connect to that principle, therefore, I think it was Swami Ramatirtha who went to US almost at the same time as Swami Vivekananda. After Vivekananda comes back to India, there was a lot of yatra that he did across India, Bharatvarsha. So he meets, Swami Ramatirtha meets Vivekananda, and in those days, he gifted him a watch. And Vivekananda looked at that beautiful watch presented to him by Ramatirtha with such love and endearment. He took it and then pulled his hand, tied it on Ramatirtha's hand, said, I will enjoy this beautiful watch on your hand. Ramatirtha was also no less. So he said, yes, the enjoyer is the same. Madhuadam Veda. Therefore, in love and acceptance, when our mind expands, that one, that which I love in my expansion, if they enjoy, I have also enjoyed. Isn't it? Now, a mother, when she serves a good meal and the children are completely lost in that meal, licking their fingers, asking for seconds and thirds, in their enjoyment, who is enjoying? Isn't it the mother? Why? She has expanded beyond her own little limitation to expand to that family. Therefore, that enjoyment is rightfully experienced by the mother. Now, imagine you to expand to the entire creation. Aren't you the enjoyer? Therefore, Atmanam Veda. To understand that enjoyer as your own self from that totality perspective, anybody bringing in that enjoyment, you start enjoying it. Therefore, when the child is also sick, more than the child going through the pain and suffering, the child might say, I'm okay. But whose heart is palpitating? The mother's heart. But because it is not expanding, we call it attachment. The moment you expand it, that is called liberation. You can turn that attachment into liberation, provided there is no one rejected, nothing rejected, everything is accepted, everything is glorified. Yahatu imam Madhvadam Veda Atmanam Jivamantikam. This Ishvara is the very substratum of the past, present, and future. Now, the past, present, and future is only with respect to the Jivatva standpoint. From his standpoint, neither there is a past nor there is a future. There is just this present moment as presence. Because from his standpoint, he is Kalatita. There is no Kala functioning. I have given this example earlier, but it will make the point. For the one that is standing in the first ground floor and the one that is standing in the 10th floor, the one who is standing on the ground floor, whatever is in the present moment, for the 10th floor, that also is included in the present moment. For that 10th floor fellow, when he is seeing that there is another car coming, that has already become the present moment. But for the ground fellow, it is in the future. For the car that has already passed by, for the fellow in the ground floor, that is in past tense. But for the fellow that is up there, it is still in the present moment. All of this gamut of the Chatur Yuga cycle, I am not just talking of this moment, last moment and the future moment. The entirety of the moment called the Chatur Yuga, Kalpa and Brahma's 100 years of daytime, 100 years of nighttime, all of that is mere a bindu in the present moment as the presence. Ishanam bhuta bhavyasya. He is verily that who is causing the time to happen, but yet not impacted by the time, that all the past, present, future is in that moment alone. So now what we call such a long life, in comparison to us, Brahmaji's is several such cycles put together, several millions of such cycles put together. That also appears like a moment to that Ishvara. Ishanam bhuta bhavyasya natato vijugupsate. Therefore, there is nothing to be fearful about, nothing to be scared about, nothing to be disgusted about, or to be hatred about. So, as a sadhana, from where I am, what should I begin? At least stop hating anyone or anything. To expand to love everything, अभी दिल्ली बहुत दूर है. It is a long journey from here. But at least what we can do? Stop hating. It is a very visceral, emotional outburst. Because who am I hating? See, I may have to correct something. In my child, in my wife, in my husband, I may have to correct something. Born out of the understanding am I correcting, born out of the hatred am I correcting. Nothing is worth hating, because that which you end up hating, jugupsa means hatred. Scared, fearful, anxious, therefore hatred. Who am I hating? I am hating my own self. Because that which is reflecting as the self there is me, the conscious principle alone. So in turn, who am I hating? I am hating myself. Is it worth it? Don't we love ourselves the most? But we are refusing to expand. Oh yeah, physically we may have expanded from what we were earlier. I am talking about conceptually we don't expand. Therefore, we see hatred, we see fear, we see afraid mindsets. There is nothing to be hatred about, nothing to be anxious about, nothing to be fearful about. Na tato vijugupsate. Etat vaitat. In the earlier shloka, the microcosm was described. In this mantra, they are describing the macrocosm. The substratum of both is the self. I mean, this is in between the thought, but then I have to stop to continue it tomorrow. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha